Yo, what's up mga tropa peeps? Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat at welcome po dito sa ating live stream patungkol po dito sa pagdinig ng Senado, especially ang komite ni Idol Senator RAFFY TULFO, Committee on Energy, patungkol po sa nangyaring malawakang brownout dyan po sa Western Visayas. So makinig po tayo, panoorin natin at eto nga, sabi ni Senator Raffy Tulfo sa isang post, sabi po ay kung hadlang ang NGCP, at pala si Hontiveros may sabi nito, kung hadlang ang NGCP para magkaroon ng mura at maasahang supply ng kuryente para sa bawat Pilipino, oras na para alisin ang hadlang na ito. Ngayon, ito pong si Senator Raffy Tulfo, ang chair po ng Panel on Energy, at sabi niya, uulitin ko, here we are again, same problem, same people, quite possibly same issues. Hiyang-hiya ako sa mga tao ng Panay Island na apektuhan ng blackout kasi nga nangyari na ito sa kanila noon. Eh wala pong pagbabago sa na ito, sa sitwasyon ng enerhiya o ng kuryente diyan po sa Western Visayas. Nagkakaroon pa rin po ng malawakang brownout at natapat pa nga po nito kapapasok lamang ng bagong taon na mangyari yan. So ito po, panoorin natin, pakinggan natin ang mga sasabihin at paliwanag ng mga taga-NGCP at kung paano po gigisahin ng mga senador natin at tutukuyin ang punot dulo ng problema.
Good afternoon, everyone. The meeting is now called to order. Thank you for attending today's hearing of the Committee on Energy. At this point, let me acknowledge the presence of Senator Tolentino, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Bato de la Rosa, and later on, Senator Chisco there will be here in a few minutes. Senator Francis Tolentino, I believe he also filed a resolution pertaining what we'll be talking about today, which we will discuss later. With this, I hereby declare the presence of a quorum. May we first request the committee secretary to restate our agenda for today's hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For today's agenda, we have number 1, Senate Resolution number 46, Operations of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, introduced by Senator Gatchalian. Senate Resolution number 47, Plans of the Department of Energy to provide long-term solutions to power supply shortages, introduced by Senator Gatchalian. Senate Resolution number 49, National Strategy of DOE to ensure the country's energy security and self-sufficiency, also introduced by Senator Gatchalian. Senate Resolution number 556, the continuous supply of electricity, introduced by Senator Villanueva. Senate Resolution number 579, Panay Island electric situation, introduced by Senator Grace Tu. Senate Resolution number 607, Successive Electric Transmission System Disturbances, introduced by Senator Gatchalian. And Senate Resolution 609, Power Outages due to lapses in the transmission system, introduced by Senator Tulfo. Apart from the resolutions mentioned, there are 3 pending resolutions that have yet to be referred to the Committee on Energy. Senate Resolution number 892, Resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the recent power outage in Panay Island due to lapses in the operation of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, introduced by Senator Marcos. Senate Resolution number 894, Resolution urging the Committee on Energy to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the continuous blackouts in the Iloilo following the recent power outage in Western Visayas, and urging the Department of Energy and the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines to find a more sustainable solution to the energy supply in the region, introduced by Senator Tolentino. And Senate Resolution number 896, A resolution directing the Senate Committee on Energy to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation and the massive blackout and power disturbance in Western Visayas. Introduced by Senator RAFFY TULFO. That will be all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Comsec. Pending the referral to the committee, will conduct a motu proprio investigation on the widespread power outage in Panay Island, which occurred on January 2, 2024, to identify the cause of the power failure and urge the Department of Energy and the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines a comprehensive plan of action and a more sustainable solution through the energy supply in the region. May we request the committee secretary to acknowledge the resource person present today? Okay, na-acknowledge na. And I would like to give my opening statement. Here we are again. Last January 2, 2024, Western Visayas, particularly Panay Island, experienced a power outage for about 3 days. Kung natatandaan po natin, a similar system disturbance that caused a major blackout in Negros and Panay happened last April. Ulitin ko po, here we are again. Same problem, same people, quite possibly same issues. Hiyang-hiya po ako sa mga tao ng Panay Island na naapektuhan ng blackout kasi nangyari na ito sa kanila noon. Yung pahirap na naidulot nito sa ating mga kababayan na hindi pwedeng bali-walain. Yung init, yung kawalan ng kasiguraduhan ay hindi pwedeng bali-walain. Yung pagsira sa mga kagamitan at produkto para sa negosyo, mga medical facilities na naapektuhan. Iloilo City Mayor Jerry Treñas said that Iloilo alone stands to lose 1.5 billion pesos due to the 3-day power outage. Excuse me. I can only imagine what the people of Panay Island went through. We owe it to them na hindi na ito mauulit. And so, para sa mga nandito ngayon sa hearing na ito, mga government agencies, DOE, ERC, NEA, mga power industry players, GCP, IEMOP, PELRECA, excuse me, ang mga representatives of those affected by the power outage, particularly our local government executives. Huwag na po tayo magturuan. Base sa mga narinig ko at nababasa ng mga statements sa balita, turo-turuan na lang ang ginagawa. Wala pong maitutulong ang ganitong klaseng usapin. Isa lang po ang request ko sa atin ngayon. Para mapabilis ang hearing natin, imbis na mag-Poncio Pilato o maghugas ng kamay, sana po kusa na ninyong ipaliwanag kung ano po ang inyong pagkukulang at bakit naulit ang pangyaring ito sa Panay. What could have been done better? What changes should we make to prevent this from happening again? Our people deserve nothing less. Gumawa na tayo ng tunay na solusyon sa power integrity at grid stability sa Panay Island. Let's not wait for this to happen again or to happen in other similar areas. And so for today, gusto ko pong maliwanagan tayo sa 4 na bagay. Una, what was the cause of the power outage? Lack of action from NGCP in implementing a manual load dropping. Nagkulang ba ang mga GENCO o power plants? Ano ang sanhi at bakit nag-trip at matagal nakabalik online? Pati na rin ang mga distribution utilities. Kulang ba sa protective measures ang grid? Ang mga planta, ang mga distribution utilities. Pangalawa, how similar is this case to the April 2023 na panay blackout? There have been findings made by DOE on the blackout and measures that have been recommended. Were there measures carried out? If yes, how can this happen again? Is this still because hindi pa din natatapos ang Cebu Negros Panay Backbone Project? Pangatlo, what could each power industry player do to avoid this from happening again sa Panay or other similarly situated areas? At pangapat, who should be held liable for the losses of those affected by the blackout? What is the liability of those responsible for the blackout? Hindi pwedeng sorry na lang parati. Damage has been done and reparations need to be made. I expect full cooperation from everyone today. Mahiya na lang tayo sa mga tao na naghirap at sa mga taong bayad ng napakamahal na kuryente. They really deserve better. And before I continue, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Ruin Gatchalian. Good afternoon, sir. And of course, Senator Chis Escudero. And now, is there anybody from my colleague, Senator, who would like to make an opening statement as well? Senator Riza, please.
Salamat, Chair. Magandang araw at manigong bagong taon po sa ating lahat. Bagamat sa totoo lang, nakakalungkot at nakakagalit na gaya ng sinabi na ni Chair, nandito na naman tayo sa panibagong investigasyon para sa panibagong blackout na nagdulot na naman ng malaking aberya at pagdurusa sa ating mga kababayan. Wala pa ngang isang taon yung nakaraang investigasyon ng Senado sa issue ng power outage sa bansa. Hindi na tayo natuto. Hindi na tayo nadala. Noong Enero 2, 2024, malawakang power outage ang sumalubong sa milyon-milyon sa aking mga kasimanwa sa Panay at Guimaras. Nagtiis sa kadiliman ang napakaraming kababayan sa kanilang mga kabahayan habang napilay ang operasyon ng mga opisina ng gobyerno, ospital at eskwelahan. Malaking dagok ang dulot ng blackout sa mga negosyo. Gaya din ng sinabi ng Chair, sa Iloilo City pa lang, tinatayang 1.5 billion pesos ang nawala sa economic output ng syudad dahil sa ilang araw na walang kuryente. Sana'y masagot sa ating investigasyon ang pangunahing tanong ng ating mga kababayan. Ano ba ang nangyari at sino ba ang dapat managot sa malawakang blackout sa Panay at Guimaras? At mas mahalaga, paano ba natin masisiguro na hindi na mauulit muli ang blackout sa mga darating na linggo at buwan, lalo na't palapit na ang summer season? At the center of this fiasco is the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. Mismong si Presidente at ang Department of Energy itinuturo ang pagkukulang ng NGCP sa tungkulin nito bilang system operator. I hope the NGCP will address today the many questions regarding their action or inaction during the critical hours of the blackout. Sino ang in charge sa operasyon ng NGCP noong Enero 2? Sino ang nasa likod ng desisyon na tila hindi kumilos sa 2-hour window of opportunity para pigilan ang massive outage? Nagkaroon ba ng sapat na walang kamatayang ancillary services na dapat ay sasalo sa sistema tuwing may disturbance. Ayon na rin sa Philippine Grid Code. Sa mga reports na pinalabas, bakit walang real-time system profile updates mula sa NGCP bago at noong kalagitnaan ng blackout? Kahit na may access ito sa Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition o SCADA system. At naisumite na ba ng NGCP ang SCADA logs sa mga ahensya gaya ng Energy Regulatory Commission? Sa kabilang banda, sana ay makuha din natin ang kumpletong larawan ukol sa kritikal na papel ng power generation companies na nag-uugnay sa masalimuot na insidenteng ito. I also want to know more from the energy experts about the issues regarding frequency and system undervoltage and why understanding these technical issues is important for our comprehensive evaluation of what happened on Panay and Guimaras. Ang hiling ko sa NGCP at lahat ng ating resource persons, sana iwasan ang turoan at palusot. The millions affected by the blackout deserve full transparency and accountability, not cover-ups or excuses. All relevant information should be available for scrutiny by government and the public alike. In our previous hearings, Mr. Chair, I also have called out NGCP for its repeated failure to fulfill its obligations to the country, even as it rakes in billions in profits for its shareholders. Hindi pa rin natutugunan ang issue ng national security dahil sa 40% ownership ng China sa NGCP. Sinusulong din natin ipatupad na ang refund ng 200 billion pesos na pass-on charges ng NGCP sa mga consumer matapos i-disallow ito ng ERC noong nakaraang taon. Kung makukumpirma sa ating pagdinig na naging pabaya o incompetent ang NGCP sa obligasyon nito bilang system operator ng power grid ng bansa, oras na para simulan na ng Senado ang review ng mismong legislative franchise ng NGCP. Matagal na ring sinabi ng National Transmission Corporation o TRANSCO na handa itong gampanan ang obligasyon ng NGCP bilang system operator. It is time for the dysfunctional cycle of unending blackouts and expensive power costs to end. Kung hadlang ang NGCP sa pagtupad ng pangarap para magkaroon ng mura at maaasahang supply ng kuryente para sa bawat Pilipino, oras na para alisin ang hadlang na ito. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Rizal Ontiveros. Next to make his opening statement is Senator Francis Tolentino. Senator Tolentino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I join the chorus of our colleagues here in expressing disgust, disappointment, and outrage as to what happened during the first few days of January. It is similar to what happened last April 27, to be exact, 2023, last year. Ulit-ulit na lang po ito. I also likewise re-echo what Senator Ontiveros just said a while ago, that perhaps there is a need to revisit Republic Act 9511, the franchise granting NGCP the power to the business to convey transmission of electricity. Mr. Chairman, perhaps the bottom line here is Section 2 of RA 9511. What is required by the common good? Ano po ba yung kailangan ng mga kababayan natin sa Panay? Kailangan po ba silang abisuhan? Kailangan po ba silang sabihan kung kailan marirestore ang elektrisidad? Perhaps, Mr. Chairman, that there is a violation if we look at the immediate actuations given by the NDCP. NGCP's failure to immediately acknowledge their shortcomings in managing the Panay power outage further erodes trust and raises concerns about their commitment to transparency and in addressing systems issues within their operations. And if you look at, Mr. Chairman, if you look at Section 3, baka nakakalimutan nila, yung nakalagay po doon na words, yung industry standards, hindi lang po yung technical standards, kasama rin po doon yung transparency and accountability. Yun po siguro yung hinihintay at hinihiling ng ating mga kababayan nung napakahirap na 3 o 4 na araw na nagdaan nung Enero na walang tugon na nadinig except for some radio interviews coming from the NGCP. So kung natugunan po yon, palagay ko po ay kung hindi po natugunan yun noon, dapat po matugunan po sa committee hearing na ito. Again, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, this representation is more than willing to craft immediate legislative changes insofar as Republic Act 9511 is concerned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield the microphone to Senator.
Thank you, Senator Tolentino. Now, to make his opening statement is the Vice Chairman of Committee of Energy, none other than Senator Win Gatchalian. Senator Gatchalian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for conducting this very important hearing. Happy New Year to everyone. Pagsulubong po ng bagong taon, halos 2 milyong consumers ho natin ang nawalan ng kuryente sa Panay Island dahil halos 3,351 megawatts in over 164 hours ang nawalan po ng kuryente ho sa sistema. At dahil ho dito, nabasa ko po sa mga news reports at ayon rin po sa planning offices ng Iloilo Province and Iloilo City, halos 5.7 billion pesos in terms of economic losses ang nawala sa Iloilo Province and the city. Sa mga ganitong panahon, Mr. Chairman, hindi na ho tayo mabubuhay na walang kuryente. No, ang kuryente parang tubig, parang hangin. It's very important not only for businesses but also for our daily sustenance. So, Mr. Chairman, I join our colleagues in looking for the truth. It's important not to repeat this occurrence again. I guess this is, kagaya ho nang nasabi ho ng ating mga kasama, this is the second time around. But my fear is summer is fast approaching. We have El Nino in our midst. And if we don't find a solution and we don't hold the actors to account, this might become a real and dangerous problem when the summer comes in. So, Mr. Chairman, again, I join our colleagues to look for solutions, but as well as holding people to account in what to what happened in Panay Island. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chair, Senator Win Gatchalian. And next to make his opening statement is Senator Chis Escudero. Senator Escudero.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm prepared to make one, but I can. Inquiry in aid of legislation po ito para malaman at alamin kung ano nangyari. Hindi po namin layunin na maghusga pa sa puntong ito. Pero nais ko isa publiko at sabihin na sa industriya ng pagbibigay ng kuryente, 3 ang may malawak na papel na ginagampanan, 4 kung bibilangin ko ang mga ahensya ng pamahalaan. 3, namely, yung nagge-generate ng kuryente, ibig sabihin yung mga power plant, yung nagtatransmit ng kuryente mula sa mga power plant o NGCP, at yung nagdi-distribute ng kuryente sa mga consumers natin, household at mga negosyo at mga businesses. Nandun din ang pamahalaan, pang-4. Pinakamalawak na papel na ginagampanan ay ang ERC, sunod DOE, sunod ang IMAP na maganda namang nandito, upang matiyak na ginagawa ng lahat ang kanilang trabaho. Madaling ituro at ibaling ang sisi sa pinakamalaki sa kwarto, ika nga, at yan ay ang NGCP. Subalit kung wala naman silang kuryenteng iyahatid, wala namang madedeliver sa distribution utility din. Nais ko pagbigay alam sa ating mga kasamahan, hindi lamang sa komite, pero sa ating imbitado mga bisita, na sinuri ko na ang technical report na nanggagaling sa iba't ibang ahensya kaugnay nito. At mas magandang manggaling sa inyo bago namin questionin yung kada stage ng nangyari, kung ano ba talaga at saan ba talaga nagsimula. And if you ask me, Mr. Chairman, I'd rather that it start at 12 noon of January 2, and then timeline-wise, ano nangyari ng 12:09 nung bumagsak ang PEDC 1, ilang megawatts yun, which is 83. Anong nangyari in between at kung may pwede bang gawin yung mga players dito, namely distributor, transmission, and power plant. Ano nangyari noong 2019 nung bumagsak ang PCEC, isa sa pinakamalaking generating power plants doon? At halos isang segundo na lamang ang pagitan, sunod-sunod nang nagkaroon ng unscheduled shutdown lahat ng planta, kabilang ang submarine cable na nagkokonekta sa Negros. Dahil yung sistema na mismo ang nagdikta nun. Subalit, Mr. Chairman, pangunahan ko lang. Base sa records na nakita ko, mula nung nawala ang PEDC-1 ng 1209, pasok pa rin sa frequency na tinatalaga ng National Grid Code ang voltage, frequency, at unbalanced. Ang tanong, kung pasok pa rin siya hanggang 219, bakit nag-trip o nagkaroon ng unscheduled shutdown ang PCPC? Ang issue para sa akin, Mr. Chairman, is baka kailangan i-adjust yung range o baka kailangan tingnan yung mga nagtitrigger sa breaker ng planta na mag-unscheduled shutdown para protektahan yung planta nila. Dahil siyempre, mahal yung mga plantang yan eh. Siyempre, gusto na lang huwag masira. Parang sa bahay lang yan na may transformer, di ba? Ayaw mo masira. So dapat makita natin yung mga standards na yon sa investigation ito para makita at malaman kung paano ito may iwasan sa darating na panahon. Just a final note, Mr. Chairman, the National Grid Code needs to be reviewed if you ask me, because if it is still within the range provided for in the National Grid Code insofar as frequency, voltage, unbalanced, and two other factors that determine these three. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the system operator is not allowed by the National Grid Code to make any interventions. He is only allowed to make interventions if it is beyond the range. The same is true for the power plant. Hindi pwedeng mag-manual shutdown, an unscheduled shutdown ng planta. Nang desisyon lang niya. Dapat pinagbibigay alam at sumusunod pa rin sa National Grid Code, and the National Grid Code is silent with respect to that. In fact, the National Grid Code merely says in passing that the power plant can switch it off, can do an unscheduled shutdown if it affects only frequency, and is silent about unbalanced, silent about voltage. These things need to be clarified so that protocols can be established to avoid a similar incidents from occurring in the future. And I have several recommendations, Mr. Chairman, which are a bit technical, but I'm sure our technical people here would more than understand what I will be referring to at the proper time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Chis Cordero. And now, finally, Senator Bato de la Rosa will make his opening statement. Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank the chairman for calling this hearing, and I just would like to inform our resource persons, Mr. Chairman, that right now the Senate is still on break, and because of this issue, we have to come here para ma-address natin itong problema na ito. Kaya I am asking for your full cooperation, your utmost cooperation on this matter para ma-address natin itong problema na ito. Dahil kami, naka-break kami ngayon. Balikan lang kami sa Senado dahil napaka-importante po ito. So huwag natin sayangin itong oportunidad na ma-address natin itong issue na ito with this hearing. Yun lang, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Senator De La Rosa. Now may we ask the agencies invited to proceed with their presentations. And for the orderly conduct of our proceedings, may we request all questions be reserved after all agencies and stakeholders have finished their presentation. Anyway, before anything else, may we add to the records Senator Grace Poe's manifestation, as well as Senator Joel Villanueva's opening statement. Now, let's start with the Department of Energy to make their presentation. Yusek Sharon Garin, the Undersecretary of DOE. Go ahead, Madam.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon to all the senators that are present. For the Department of Energy, we would like to present together the different agencies have different functions in the case of energy. So the DOE will start and then followed by IMAP, which has a different perspective in the whole industry, and then followed by Transco, Mr. Chair, if you allow us, sir.
Go ahead.
Please proceed. Assistant Secretary Mario Marasigan will start for DOE, followed by IMAP and then Transco. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Assistant Secretary Mario Marasigan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon to all, especially to our distinguished guests, members of the Committee on Energy of the Senate, and the local government officials. May I request the presentation? For the information of the attendees, the DOE will present only the sequences of events on what transpired from January 2 to January 5. So to start with, by midday of January 2, the system operation as well as the power supply situation in Panay are all in good conditions. Unfortunately, by 12:06, the Unit 1 of Panay Energy Development Corporation in Panay Island, which is a coal-fired power plant with 83 megawatts, trip due to boiler feed pump. This is an internal problem within the system. So they have an automatic mechanisms that is triggered by too much vibration in their system. 2 hours after, or exactly at 2:19 p.m. on the same day, successive or almost simultaneous trippings of 6 power plants due to grid voltage imbalance happened. This was started with the 135 megawatt Palm Conception Power Corporation coal-fired power plant, the Unit 2 of Panay Energy Development Corporation with the same capacity with Unit 1 at 83 megawatts, the 50 megawatt of SPC Island Power Corporation's Diesel Power Plant Unit 3, the 15 megawatts PDP Unit 1, as well as the More Power Barge 101 and the 6.3 megawatt of Global Business Power Corporations, or otherwise known as the NABAS power plant. With more than 300 megawatts out of the system in terms of supply, this resulted to the outages on the feeder lines of the distribution utilities. So all of the electric cooperatives and distribution utility in Panay Island were affected almost exactly at the same time, 2:19 in the afternoon. By 1 hour after, or exactly at 3:07 in the afternoon, Panay suffered a total blackout due to isolation of Panay Island from the Visayan grids. The Bacolod, Barotac Viejo, or the Negros Panay 138 kV submarine cable trip at the time. Thereafter, or 3 minutes after, our system operator issued market intervention for Visayas. And another 14 minutes later, the Bacolod Barotac Viejo, or the Negros Panay 138 kV submarine cable was restored. Thereafter, the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines issued yellow alert notice for intervals at 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the evening. This is due to reported tin reserves in the Visayas grid. By 9:01, the yellow alert was lifted. And since some of the power plants restarted their power plants, by almost midnight or 11:45 in the evening, Panay Energy Development Corporation Unit 2 with 83 megawatts has synchronized to the grid. The following day, on January 3, at 7:45 in the morning, Panay Energy Development Corporation
Excuse me,
Unit 1.
Assistant Secretary Marasigan, pwede bang i-flash natin yung timeline na binabanggit ni Mr. Marasigan? Para
Mas madali po, Mr. Chairman.
mas madali
Hindi
natin
namin kayo maintindihan.
ma-follow
Your narrative is good, but we
Yeah.
can't visualize it.
Sige pa.
mas maganda kung merong COMSEC. Pwede ba? Para makita ng lahat. Mas mabilis kung nabivisualize namin eh. Inaayos na? Inaayos na. Kailan maayos bukas? Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Marasigan. Inaayos na raw. Sir.
So kinabukasan po, if I may, no? Kinabukasan po, January 3, 7:45 po ng umaga. Yung pong PEDC Unit 1 ay sumunod na pong na-synchronize sa grid. So yung pong Unit 2 and Unit 1 magkasunod pong na-synchronize ko, nagkaroon po ng almost 160 megawatts na available na sa Panay. However, the other bigger plant, the PCPC or the Pump Conception Power Plant, remains to be undertaking troubleshooting kasi yung pong kanilang auxiliary unit na tinatarget nilang masynchronize between 10 o'clock in the evening, nagkaroon po sila ng konting problema or tinitingnan pa, nire-retest po nila yung kanilang sistema. While at almost 9:30 in the evening, Gemelco reported, yung pong Guimaras Electric Cooperative, nag-report po sila na meron na silang full supply. Hindi, may instruction pa rin po sa kanila na manual load dropping dahil hindi pa po stable yung supply. Ang susunod po kasing mga accounts na ito na yung mga oras na nawalan ng kuryente. Yung mga nawalang kuryente na electric cooperative, isa-isa na pong nabibigyan ng supply or nagkakaroon na po sila ng allocation. Pero yung pong allocation na binibigay ay hindi sapat para sa full energization ng lahat nilang mga feeders. Ang ibig pong sabihin nun, meron po silang pinaprioritize na mga areas at nagkakaroon pa rin po ng manual load dropping o rotational brownouts. Ang isa pong magandang example dyan ay yung pong nangyari sa Aklan Electric Cooperative. Dahil po alam naman natin na pangunahing business po, yung ekonomiya po ay nasa tourism, naapektuhan po at na-isolate din yung ating Boracay Island. Kung kaya't nung magkaroon po ng kaunting supply ng electricity, habang nagkakaroon po ng manual load dropping or rotational brownouts sa Aklan, inuna po nilang magkaroon ng complete energization ang Boracay at ang city ng Kalibo para po naman sa ating mga hospital, government offices at pati na rin po sa airport. So yung pong ating mga electric cooperatives sa iba't ibang pamamaraan, nagkakaroon po sila ng prioritization habang ini-implement nila yung manual load dropping o rotational brownout dahil po sa limited supply pa ng kuryente. Ito po ay habang hinihintay natin na makabalik sa linya yung pong lahat ng power plant sa Panay Island. Towards the afternoon po or halos, by the way po, pati po yung ating private utility sa Iloilo City, yung pong More Electric Power Corporation, nagkakaroon pa rin po sila ng na manual load dropping. Alam naman po natin ang sentro ng komersyo ang Iloilo City. Subalit meron po by 9:30 in the morning po, almost a little over 60% pa lang po yung naibibigay sa kanila. Kung kaya't 14 out of 24. Next slide please. Ano na po tayo? January 4. Yan. Thank you. 14 out of 24 feeders pa lang po nila yung merong kuryente. So hindi pa rin po lahat. By 4 o'clock po in the afternoon, ang Pump Conception naman po ay nagbigay ng information sa atin na nagre-ready na po sila at they are on track for the synchronization of their system. Pagdating po sa January 5, next slide please. Dito na po natin na makikita na by 1 o'clock, 1:33 a.m., ang Pump Conception Power Corporation coal-fired facility with an 135 megawatts capacity, nag-umpisa na po silang magkaroon ng supply. Nag-start po sila ng 6 megawatts at dahan-dahan po sila nagkaroon ng ramping activity hanggang sa nagkaroon po sila ng supply o nakakapagbigay na po sila ng supply na 50 megawatts sa grid by 7:30 in the morning. Dito po, panibagong timeline na nakikita po natin, between 11:27 and 12:35 in the afternoon, lahat po ng affected DUs at electric cooperative eventually nagkaroon na po ng full energization. Ito po ay after the declaration na stable na po ang operation ng Palm Concepcion Power Corporation coal-fired facilities, pati na rin po yung deklarasyon ng NGCP ng stability ng ating grid system. So nagkaroon pa rin na rin po ng pagtatanggal or yung lifting ng ating market intervention sa Visayas by 1234 at nasa normal operation na po ang ating wholesale electricity spot market by 1240. Of course, eventually po, yung Palm Concepcion, na-reach na po yung kanyang full capacity just before 1 p.m. on January 5. Dito na po yung signal na meron na pong full operation at nasa normal electricity services na po ang buong isla ng Panay, kasama po ang Guimaras at ang Boracay. So dyan po nagtatapos, yan po yung presentation ng DOE. This will be supported po by the presentation of IMOP and Transco as indicated by Undersecretary Garin. Maraming salamat po sa lahat.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary Mario Marazigan. Next to make the presentation, meron ko pang isang 8. Okay. I would like to call the attention of the local government units sa Iloilo City. Si Honorable Mayor Jerry Treñas. Mayor Treñas, can you hear us? Wala kayong audio, Mayor Treñas. Nakamute ata po kayo, sir?
Chair,
Okay. Okay na po. Loud and clear na po kayo. Sige, go ahead, Mayor Treñas. Meron kayong gustong sasabihin?
we have just a statement together with the statements of all the affected sectors which we sent already to your office. Mr. Chair, Your Honors, first of all, I would like to thank you for taking time and looking at the possible reasons for this 4-day blackout in Panay. We Ilonggos are known to be sweet or malambing and loving people. But these characteristics were tested and challenged when the 4-day blackout hit us last January 2 to 5 of this year. Who can still afford to smile when for the first time you have to sleep in plazas or barangay gyms or the esplanade because of prolonged brownouts, turning houses into hot ovens? Who can still afford to smile if your loved ones with medical conditions a comfortable environment are suffering from inconvenience and discomfort due to rising temperature? The Iloilo City government had to address simultaneous concerns needing immediate attention, to include setting up of charging stations in different areas of the city to ensure connectivity. Classes and work were suspended for 4 days. City Hall services were interrupted, and local businesses were greatly affected. Our local economy has suffered an estimated 500 million losses a day, or 2 billion in 4 days, because the brownouts and blackouts started on a Tuesday and ended on Friday at 12:54. This is the second time that we suffered prolonged blackouts and brownouts. The last one happened in April of 2023. We do not deserve this. No one deserves this. And I ask anyone who is present here, are you willing to have a 4-day blackout brownout? Because I will give you a medal. As mayor of Iloilo City and chairman of the Infrastructure Development Committee of the Regional Development Council of Western Visayas, I am angry for the suffering of our beloved Ilonggos and the rest of Western Visayas, people affected by this region-wide power outage. I would like to thank President Bongbong Marcos, Secretary Rafael Popo Lutilla of the Department of Energy, Senate President Mig Subiri, your good office, Mr. Chairman, Senator Win Gatchalian, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Grace Poe, Senator Francis Tolentino, Senator Joel Villanueva. We will not forget you. I promise you, your names will be written in stone because you felt also for your Ilonggo brothers. I thank also House Speaker Martin Romualdez and Congressman Sandro Marcos together with Jam Baronda for initiating inquiries in aid of legislation relative to the Panay blackouts. My question to all of you, Mr. Chair, Your Honors. Iloilo City alone suffered a loss of an estimated 2 billion pesos. Who is going to pay for this? We are looking for accountabilities. We are not going to sit down this time and just listen to all these inquiries. The last time this happened in April of 2023, nothing happened. No one was held accountable. Unfortunately, some of our friends in the legislature were trying to help defend those who are guilty. This time, we will not allow those people who are responsible to get away with this. How can this 4-day blackout brownout happen in a country that is supposed to be one of the most developing countries in the ASEAN? Can you imagine this happening in Singapore? Can you imagine this happening in the NCR? That is why we are angry. And we want to hold those who are accountable. You must pay for this. Otherwise, we go on with this inquiry, nothing will happen. I am hoping that today, considering that our beloved senators, especially those whom I have mentioned, are seriously looking into this and not defending those who are guilty. I am waiting also that after this inquiry, we will see who is accountable, and those who are accountable should be made to pay. We are serious this time, and we want ultimately the Senate and the House of Representatives together to punish those who are accountable and to hold them accountable for these losses, especially in my beloved city. who can pay for those who slept in the plazas, who slept in the barangay gyms? Do you want that to happen also to you? So I ask you this time, find someone who is guilty and hold them accountable and let them pay. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's exactly what we're doing right now to find who is accountable to this problem that causes this brownout. Ito pong mga kalbaryong niranasan nyo, 2 beses na, 2 in a row. At yan po yung dahilan kung bakit nandito tayo ngayon. At sabi niyo po, dapat maging seryoso tayo sa ginagawa nating hearing. For your information, lahat naman po ng hearing dito sa Senado, seryoso po. Wala po kaming ginagawang pabiro-biro dito. Lahat po ng klaseng hearing na dinidinig dito sa Senado ay puro seryoso po. Okay? FYI lamang po. And now let's hear naman from the Governor of Iloilo, Governor Arthur Defensor, if he's there.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon
Governor,
to everyone.
Honorable Governor Art Defensor, go ahead, sir. The floor is yours. For
First
your
of all, we are
presentation.
very thankful to the chairman and the members of this committee for having this hearing immediately. We are here to plead for an immediate solution to the problem because we in Iloilo and the rest of Region 6, we are in danger of it happening again. This happened last April of 2023. It happened several days ago, and it can happen again. For us Ilonggos and the rest of Region 6, 2 things. The National Grid Corporation and others concerned should perfect the management of the national grid, because there is no room for mistake here. Second, the completion of vital infrastructure like Phase 3 of the Cebu-Negros-Panay backbone and other ancillary civil structures to strengthen the grid. Otherwise, the blackout can happen again. Because, Mr. Chairman, machines really fail, whether it is a washing machine or it is a coal-fired power plant. That is why trips really happen as a matter of course. You can correct me later if I am wrong. What is important is that our grid must be able to withstand the trips and the disturbances and the anomalies physically and management-wise. So, Mr. Chairman, that is why we seek for compliance with these 2 things, Mr. Chairman. A grid without a backbone or a national grid without a backbone is not a national grid, Mr. Chairman. A national grid with an unfinished backbone is a weak national grid. So that is why if we don't address these matters, Mr. Chairman, the blackout will happen again. We have suffered 3.8 billion pesos damage. That is loss of load translated to economic loss, Mr. Chairman. We in Iloilo and the rest of Region 6, we are positioning to take legal recourse to vindicate the rights of our people and so that they can be compensated for the damage done. And more importantly, to exert the strongest pressure so that the blackout will not happen again, Mr. Chairman. Again, we are very thankful to the committee for having this hearing immediately. And again, we are here to plead together with the rest of Region 6 for an immediate solution to the problem. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Honorable Governor Arthur Defensor. And now let's hear from the Governor of Guimaras, Governor Carlos Raman Nava. Governor Nava, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. To the honorable members of this committee, we would like to express our appreciation for the invitation and would like to manifest as well our support to this initiative. Notwithstanding this latest incident, last January 2, that affected the entire region, particularly Panay and Guimaras, which is similar to the event that happened last April of 2023. I'd like to inform this committee that we in Guimaras had experienced power interruptions. For 2023, not less than 60 hours of power interruptions, both scheduled and unscheduled. The same way, or in addition to what the other local executives have said, I would like to point on something that we need to be further informed. This is the swinging reserves. I would like to emphasize on this because there is a substantial bill that Gimelco receives, our electric cooperative, from NGCP, I mean. Substantial in the sense that it is somewhere more than 30% to more than 50% of the bill monthly. And we all know that is passed on to the consumers of ancillary support services, which includes one, contingency reserves, dispatchable reserves, and there's another one. Yeah. So I think this is meant to prevent incidents like this. And paying that much on a monthly basis to guarantee incidents that this would not happen, I think that's too much for us consumers. So I think this should be put under review on top of the other problems that we're confronting right now. Nevertheless, it is our hope still that a way can be unlocked for us to come up with the proper solutions that would resolve this power and energy crisis that haunts a region for quite a long time now. So this is not new, this is recurrent, and this may be persistent. And I think it is high time that I have to resolve this as much as possible, as soon as possible. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you, Honorable Governor Carlos Nava, Governor of Guimaras. Now, I would like to request the agencies that will be making presentations to make it brief for time consideration para magkaroon tayo ng pagkakataon ng tanungan mula sa mga kasama kong senador dito. Now, let's move on. Next is the National Electrification Administration, NEA, to make their presentation. Wala.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I think our presentation is covered by the presentation of DOE already.
All right. And then how about the Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC? Attorney Mona Lisa de Malanta, the floor is yours.
We do have a presentation, Your Honor, but I think IMAP would like to present first.
Okay.
We can yield the floor to IMAP first.
IMAP. Okay. And would that be the Independent Electricity Market Operators of the Philippines, represented by Engineer Robinson Descanso.
Yes,
Descanso, sir.
Mr. Chair, Honorable Chair, Honorable Senators, and all present in this hearing, good afternoon. Can we share the presentation, please? Okay. Our presentation is basically the market operator's perspective of the Panay Power interruption beginning January 2, 2024. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. So as shown in the monitor, sir, is the map of Visayas, no? Showing the interconnection between islands, no? As you can see in this map, the generation centers are in Leyte Samar, Cebu, Negros, and also partly located in Panay. But in terms of interconnection, nasa dulo po si Panay, no? So, pag nasa dulo po, ang ibig sabihin, lahat ng kailangan ni Panay should be sourced locally inside the island plus whatever available doon sa interconnection from Negros. Okay? So, as of January 29 or as of December 29, ang registered capacity po ng Panay sa market, no, is around 673 megawatts. At ang average demand niya is 320 megawatts. But nagpipik po ito ng almost 430 megawatts, no? At during the time ng incident, ang load sa Panay is 400 megawatts. However, ang available capacity po doon sa mismong island is nabawasan kasi po naka-maintain si PEDC 3 which is 150 megawatts. At of course, yung mga ibang planta ron na mga wind farms are hindi naman po nakaka-produce ng maximum, no? And then the rest of the capacities there are diesel power plants po. Next slide, please. Okay. Ito po ang profile ng generation and load sa Panay at nandito rin po yung generation and load profile ng Negros. Yung time period po before magsimula yung first tripping ng planta hanggang do sa makapag-restore yung system around 16:45 ng hapon. So again, dito po sa event number 1, nakatagpo number 1 dyan, at 12:05:100, ang generation po sa island is 356 megawatts. Ang demand niya is almost 403 megawatts, no? So yung kakulangan po sa island is nanggagaling po sa submarine cable, no, yung interconnection niya from Negros. So yun po yung that is about 47 megawatts. Again, gusto ko pong emphasize na because kulang po yung available capacity within the Panay Island during that period. Kulang po sa energy as well as kulang para sa reserves, no? Na pangangailangan yung nabanggit po kanina, regulation, contingency, and dispatchable capacities. Around 12:06 po, no? 100, nag-trip po si PEDC 1 na may kargang 56 megawatts at that time, no? So natural po nung mawala po siya, nawala yung contribution ni PEDC 1 at pinalitan naman ng importation coming from Negros.
Mr. Chairman, just on this point, so that we're clarified on the terms being used, when you say nag-trip si PEDC 1 na nagpo-provide ng 83 megawatts supposedly. Hindi po ba sa panay sa grid?
56 po.
Ha?
56.
At that time, 56. Pero yung capacity ng PEDC-1 is 83.
Yes, sir.
When you say nag-trip, enough nung power plant, nag-activate yung breaker niya, o may problema, tulad ng binanggit kanina ng DOE, may problema sa boiler feeder ni PEDC-1?
Ito po ay information na hindi po nare-receive ng market, no? Basically po, the
Sir,
reason
by
behind...
now, whenever a plant shuts down, unscheduled, whether you call it trip or unscheduled shutdown, they have to inform. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
within a
sir.
certain period. I
Yes,
think
sir.
48 hours. So by now, you know. So, nag-trip ba dahil may instability sa grid o in-off nila dahil may problema?
Meron pong problema yung mismong planta.
Okay,
yung
excuse
unit
me,
na yun.
Senator Cheese. Pwedeng patapusin mo natin lahat ng presentation bago sa question and answer.
Just to clarify, Mr.
Para-
Chairman, because
para
trip
mapabilis
is a
tayo.
technical term that's
Yeah.
actually is triggered by the system na yung breaker ma-activate so magsa-shut down yung planta. In this case, the plant shut it down because they had a problem, so the unscheduled shutdown happened at 12:06.
In the case po ng PEDC-1, nag-trip po siya because meron po yung internal problem yung makina nila.
Yung planta.
Yeah, yung planta po.
Okay.
At nabanggit
Guardian
po
Engineer, can you finish your
Yes, sir. At,
presentation? Can you make it quick now?
Yung nawala pong 56 megawatts na karga ni PEDC-1, sinalo ng Negros Cable. Kaya kung makikita niyo po sa presentation, from 46 naging 92 megawatts po ang import from Negros. Pero nung nawala po si PEDC, hindi lang megawatt ang nawala. Nawala din yung voltage support na kinocontribute ni PEDC-1. Kasi lahat po ng mga online plants doon sa Panay ay nagpo-contribute sila to stabilize yung voltage sa Panay. Nung nawala po siya, nawala rin yon. Okay, so punta po ako doon sa bandang before event number 4, no? Nakalagay po rito, 14, 15, ang generation na po sa Panay is 301, no? Local generation. At ang demand ay tumas ng konti, no? From 402 naging 406 megawatts na yan. So may galaw po, no? Because of this variability sa load, minute by minute nagbabago po yan. At the same time, yung production po coming from the plants ay gumagalaw din. So nagsusunod rin na lang po yan. Okay, so yun po yung scenario. Then item 4 dito, at 14:19, no, alas 2:19, nagkaroon po ng simultaneous trip, no. At yung mga plantang nag-trip yan halos 300 megawatts po yon, no. Again, nag-trip po ngayon po hindi simultaneous trip. Yung po yung hinahanap natin dito kung ano yung dahilan kung bakit nag-trip yon simultaneously yon. Natural, nung nawala po yung 300 megawatts na local gen, babagsak din po yung mga load feeders ng mga distribution utilities. Okay? Kaya po, ang natira na lang pong load sa Panay is around 130 megawatts, no? O mga 130 megawatts na lang. At lahat po yan ay nanggagaling, ang supply niya ay nanggagaling sa Negros cable, no? But unfortunately, mga 307, yung natitirang cable po na nagsusupply ng power sa Panay, ay bumagsak din, no? Nag-trip din. At totally, nag-blackout na yung Panay. Okay, so ganun po ang nangyari. Ngayon, balikan ko lang po yung simultaneous tripping. Ano pa po yung possible triggers to lead to a simultaneous tripping or even tripping ng isang planta, no? Ayan po yung frequency na sinasabi kanina. Dapat ang normal lang frequency. Ang frequency po ay babagsak kung kulang po yung supply kaysa doon sa kailangan ng load ng island. Number 2 po, voltage, under voltage or voltage stability, mangyayari po yon kung kulang na yung sinusuportahang voltage support na pinoprovide ng mga generators. At kagaya po ng nababanggit ko kanina, nagsimula po yon nung mawala yung PEDC-1. Ngayon, yung pangatlo po, yung unit fault, no? Yung unit problem sa generator or system fault. At yung mga ibang reports po, ang sinasabi nila ay ang issue is voltage, no? Voltage instability. Now, ano po ba yun ang mga posibleng paraan naman to correct yung frequency, correct yung voltage, no? Yung frequency po, gaya na nasabi ko, kailangan palaging merong capacity na sumusunod do sa movement ng load. Kasi yun po yung concept ng system balance. Okay? Now, yung voltage naman po, kailangan mag-deploy ka ng capacitors sa island because the voltage problem is a localized problem, no? Kung pwede pang magbigay yung mga natitirang planta ng megabars o yung tinatawag kong voltage support para ma-stable, ma-normalize mo yung voltahe. Now, so, yun po, no? Now, ano po yung nangyari doon? Apparently po, nag-cascading yung trip, no? Malamang frequency, malamang voltage, pero base sa report, voltage ang problem. At nagsimula po yung instability na yon because nag-trip yung isang planta, PEDC, at tumataas po, kahit konti, tumataas yung load requirement ng island.
Okay.
Okay, so...
Okay, engineer, mapapahaba pa. Siguro later on, pwede mo nang...
Isa
yung
na lang
mga sinasabi mo, pwede naman siguro tatanungin ng mga kasamahan ko, Senador.
Sige po.
Can you make it brief na?
Yes.
Para meron pa tayong ibang mga gustong magbigyan ng presentation.
Sige po. Tatapusin ko na po yung presentation ko doon.
Yes, go ahead.
Clarification, Mr. Chair, dito lang sa slide na to, yung isang item dito.
Okay.
Clarificatory question, engineer. Meron din dito sa slide nyo, note number 5, no SO, no system operator, no NGCP advice for MLD after the simultaneous tripping. Napansin ko lang po tama ba ako or mali ba ako na importante yan? Kasi kapag may ganitong tripping or anumang disturbances, anumang problema, dapat may information. In this case, sa slide na to, mula sa SO, which is NGCP, dun sa ibang stakeholders para maka-action, ma-prevent po yung pag-collapse ng sistema. Tama po ba yun?
Tama po yun. Actually po, parehas din siya sa item number 3. So, yun po yung before the simultaneous tripping, no? So, again, yung load shedding o partial load dropping po, supposedly, may automatic mechanism. Ngayon, in the presence po ng walang automation, judgment call po yun, no? Pwedeng i-coordinate ni ESO sa mga utilities to shed some of their load, yung pong load management na sinasabi namin, para na sa ganun magkaroon ng free up doon sa local supply na nakaabang lang po in case na gumagalaw uli yung yung load, no? At yung pong ganun is proactive action na yung next possible tripping masusustain po. Kasi kung titignan niyo po yung dito, no, assuming si Palm Conception lang po ang nag-trip, no, nung item 4 na may dala-dalang 135 megawatts. Yung kable natin at that time...
Excuse me, pwede siguro mamaya magtanong yung mga senador in order of the arrival. Mas maganda, to be fair to everybody, okay? Let's continue, move on. Sunod naman yung
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Follow up ko na lang po mamaya sa
Thank you,
Q&A.
Senator Riza. Sunod naman yung Transco, go ahead, make your presentation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So may I request the Secretariat to flash our presentation?
May I ask my colleagues, wala muna interruption questions. Patapusin muna natin silang lahat. After that, in order of arrival, pwede kayo magtanong ng questions ninyo and hindi ko kayo pipigilan kahit na ilang questions. Thank you. Go ahead po, Transco.
Yeah. Our presentation will be taking off from